think the honorable thing for our species to do is deny our programming. Stop reproducing. Walk hand in hand into extinction. One last midnight, brothers and sisters opting out of a raw deal.
Do not trust any friends or family members. I repeat, do not trust friends.
I'm glad. Well, I wanted to talk you through it, and I hope you feel better.
I think you did.
Yeah. So
I love this.
All right.
Being fucking distressed mentally all the time.
Speaking of being mentally distressed, there's an American election coming up. Okay. And one thing that I haven't done, because I said I would, I said I'd go on record with my prediction. And
I thought you were going to go on record and talk about Arnold Palmer's genitalia.
Oh, yeah. Well, I hear this. Did he say that it was a big dick? That Arnold Palmer had a big Arnold Palmer dick? Okay.
Other men referred to him as a man.
Oh, wow.
He went into the change room, fucking stepped back, and you reassessed what a man was.
Wow.
Jesus Christ.
Just locker room talk.
Yeah, just some locker room talk.
Yeah, a lot to take in.
So I don't like to, one thing I've noticed, re-listening to our episodes is that, the topical, the topical commentary, 2 years from now, it sounds stupid. Nobody cares, right? It's 10 minutes of us talking about something that everything's past. That said, Kamala's going to win, and I've maintained this since the moment she entered into the race, and I'm putting my cards on the table now so I can afterwards go, I told you. Because I don't believe this shit is actually that close. Fine, there's, maybe it's 53 to whatever, I think the good times represented, but even though the good times equal fucking status quo genocide bullshit, nonetheless, I think everybody's on board for that at the present moment, as long as they feel good about it. That's what's being sold right now.
That's a big prediction. I like it.
Yeah.
I hope
so. Just given the old record, putting it on there. And if
were
I'm
you
wrong,
right about the last election?
I don't know. I don't think I made a prediction. I think I was. I honestly don't know. I like to think that I thought that Joe Cage was going to win. But I had a sneaking feeling that it could have been racist grandpa. I'll just say that I was happy with the outcome.
Yeah, I'm not doing this because I like racist grandpa, but I'm saying it's him.
You think it's the racist grandpa for the win, huh?
Yeah.
Why?
I just have a bad feeling about it.
Okay, well that's I don't know, that's what all the people who are worried about racist grandpa, that's all this is motivated by. They just got a bad feeling,
I got a bad feeling about this.
but he's lost already, right? He's already lost once. Why do we think he's going to win again?
He's decaying before our eyes too. It's pretty spectacular.
Yeah, and his team has no momentum. He's all fucked up. The other side raised $1 billion fucking dollars, and they're showing up all over the place. They're on a hustle. They are fucking hustling.
Bill motherfucking Gates just donated a bunch of money. I don't know what a late donation's really gonna do for you. And if Bill Gates is endorsing you, I don't know what that endorsement's gonna do for you, but it has.
Well, that's money. Money's money, man. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, I don't think in the same way that Obama was a piece of shit, Kamala's a piece of shit, right? They're all pieces of shit. However, they're not fascists, and so I can breathe a sigh of relief. That's it. But I guess we'll see, man. You're right. Who knows? It's an election. The people are going to decide. But the last time, I just don't trust the polls anymore, man.
Yeah, no.
Remember the red wave?
Yeah. One thing I was reading an article just now about how there's so many more Republican leaning polls, just inherently biased, and they may be skewing averages as well. So that did seem persuasive to me because I don't know. It's just hard. I'm willing to believe that America would elect a ham sandwich if they thought it would improve the economy. So there's that. I also believe that America would elect anybody rather than a black woman. So there's also that. There are things stacked up against the way it should be. And but I choose to be cautiously optimistic still.
All right. Well, there we go.
There it is.
Yeah. Okay. Good. And 2 years from now, who's going to give a shit? But
That's right.
for the present moment, I just wanted it to be out there. I had another thing, and then we can go on back to being funny and clever. I would really like, at the present moment, the Internet Archive has experienced a cyber attack. They've had to shut down briefly in order to make corrections and deal with stuff. Support the Internet Archive. It's a fantastic project, like the Wayback Machine and whatever. These things are internet gems. Similarly, Wikipedia. If you believe in truth and you want your AI not to feed you slop, $2 a month to Wikipedia. Just do yourself a favor. Do the future a favor. Please do these things. They're very important. And no one's going to listen to me, but
I believe it. Yeah. Remember, fucking AI was pandering to me. We don't want this.
Absolutely. No, we don't want it to pander. We want a hard truth.
Yeah, I don't want you to shovel shit at me.
Yeah, right. You know what doesn't shovel shit at you, though? Guys.
Shane Black?
Shane Black. Yeah, that's right. All right. On today on the Extinction Agenda, it's a Shane Black special, but it's actually a Shane Black Fred Decker special, isn't it? And we're doing the Monster Squad, 1987, August of 1987, and I don't think I looked up. The Predator is 2018, but I didn't look up the month that it came out. I'll deal with that later.
Not necessary. The Predator from 2018 is well known.
Yeah. September 2018. There we go. And even though these things are separated by 30 years essentially, they share a connection, and they share more connections than you would realize. And you think to yourself, some people never really grow up, do they? Yeah. I didn't introduce the other people, did I? But the Extinction Agenda with James.
And Chris.
Yeah, I'm going to just try and say James at the same time as you from now on.
Yeah, I did.
Did you jinx each other?
Worst intro ever. Yeah. Sorry about that, guys.
No, we did it on purpose, didn't we?
Monster Squad. I don't know. Where do we start? We've seen it a bunch of times. Yeah?
I have seen it many times. I made Kate watch it apparently and vouched for it. She remembers it vividly and is not pleased with me.
Oh, no.
To this day.
Oh, that makes no sense. Because she remembered?
Yeah, she's like, yeah, I know all about this movie. You fucking made me watch it when we first started dating. And it's fucking ridiculous. I was like, well, all right, well, that's your opinion.
Yeah.
Whatever, opinion. Man. Yeah.
This one's a classic, but it's also actually there's no also attached to it. It's kind of a Goonies, Spielberg. It's really of that era, the kids movie era. But there's what is it, PG-13 or something like that? It just feels a little the Goonies never talked.
It's a bit edgier. It's more of a teen movie, really, in my opinion. But
yeah.
They definitely it came out it comes out swinging hard, pretty extra violent and not appropriate for kids, even though it seems to be directed at kids. It's a real oddball, and also practical effects still hold up.
Oh yeah, I'm glad you said that. The costumes are great. We might as well, I'm sure we'll get into the elements of this. This movie tanked, and one of the reasons people propose that it tanked is the PG-13 rating. It was aimed at kids, but kids couldn't go see it.
Or when you brought your kid in to see it, the fat kid got the shit beat out of him, called a faggot. And vampire harpies got fucking speared straight through the heart in grotesque, gory ways. At the first opening, 2 minutes of the movie, all that happens.
Yeah, but I that. Those things all, well, aside from the fat kid fag comment, but those things all sound like in 1987 though. That was endorsed. That's dynamite, man.
Was regular bullying?
Yeah.
What's that faggot?
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure that was still good in the 90s.
Oh,
So,
absolutely, definitely in the 90s. Yeah, I don't know what it is. Why? Because so this came out in on video in 1988, and from that moment, like I didn't see it in the theater, right? But in videotape form, holy shit, man, there wasn't like. God, I can't count the number of times I watched this movie with like the family would put it on and we would just watch Monster Squad.
yeah, you like in the you're talking about the late 80s, so like your
Yeah.
parents or aunt and uncle will just rip a cig,
Mhm.
have a glass of Crown Royal, and let you watch people get beat up with that kind of language and
Yeah.
fucking spear monsters and whatever, man. You already saw somebody's face get fucking melted off in Indiana Jones and had hearts ripped out. You're good to go for this. This is normal kids fare.
Yeah, like it is at the time. Like, and I think that's like there's something I don't know if it's exceptional, but it's interesting. But Chris, you haven't said anything yet. How do you feel? How do you feel about the Monster Squad?
Oh, I love the Monster Squad. It was my introduction into horror movies. Probably, I remember watching this vividly at like just a friend's birthday party. With that, again, it was just sort of like, yeah, like what are we gonna do with kids for 2 hours? Just put this shit on and just have at it. And yeah, I think just like it's one of those movies, like you say, it just kind of defined an era for a lot of us in a weird way.
And this is, and I like, I'm hesitant to put that kind of stamp on it, but it like I loved it and watched it a lot, but like at a certain point it kind of disappeared from my life, and I was like, oh yeah, Monster Squad, that faithful friend is over there. I don't have to think about that anymore. And and it didn't activate in me any like love of the Universal monsters. Like I didn't love Dracula more after this. I did like Frankenstein, etc.
Did you fear Dracula more though? I feel like I was more scared of him.
Oh no, because he's very camp. This is a very camp movie.
I don't know, man. There's some stranger danger that I was picking up on this time with Dracula. Like there's.
Oh yeah, and as an
you don't
adult,
want him around your kids.
As an adult watching these performances, I'm like, my goodness, everybody's swinging. Like this guy who plays Dracula, what's his name? I wrote it down here. Duncan Rugger or whatever. This guy's insane. Like when you watch him in interviews talking about it, he's like, oh, I looked at the performance of 1931 and I was like, blah, blah, blah. And he's like, he creates like this triangulation from all the various performances of Dracula. And he's trying to capture something like kind of fresh about it. And he's really putting his all into it.
Yeah.
And like honestly, it comes out pretty well. Like everybody in this movie is on point, working hard. Nothing sucks about this.
Tom Noonan is fucking fabulous as
amazing,
and he's just coming off of like Manhunt, right? Like Manhunt.
Yeah. Not to trivia us, right off the bat, but Catherine Bigelow wanted him for Near Dark, which came out the same year. And so again, I'm just getting this off the internet, but she fucking showed up apparently on set, trying to persuade him to come to do Near Dark like at the same time, and he was like, no, this is the role I want.
That's incredible.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, Frankenstein. Put your own stamp.
I believe it. He did such a good job. Like having watched, I didn't rewatch. Sorry, I watched for the first time the original Frankenstein, like the Universal Monsters Frankenstein from 1931 or whatever. The parallel, like there's these purposeful parallels. I think Tom Noonan does like more of a late 1930s sequel Frankenstein with that clumsy walk. Bela Lugosi plays it a little more human, a little more mobile, with a little more dexterity. But his connection to the little girl is very much that first movie, because there's a scene where Frankenstein sits down with a little girl and he plays with her, and they do like they trade flowers or whatever, but he accidentally kills her because he's a fucking maniac. So yeah, there's all these little nods, not only in the acting, but also in the storyline itself. Like these guys really love the Universal monsters. It's pretty cool.
So what movie did you guys just say Tom Noonan was in?
Manhunter?
Oh, that's he's
the Red Dragon.
Yeah, Hannibal Lecter.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, he's also in RoboCop 2.
Yeah, fucking right.
Kane, baby. Anyway, great role. Yeah, no, I love all these monsters. This was it was the first time for me as a kid that the Universal monsters it's gonna say sounds stupid because it was so campy, but were taken seriously.
Yeah.
Like you were supposed to be fucking scared. Like this was there was danger, legitimate danger here for the
Yeah.
kids. People actually died. Monsters died. People are fucking taken away. Like the ambulance was like the coroners were on fucking duty in this town. People were fucking dying.
Yeah.
The werewolf guy, what he was trying to steal the show. Thank you.
Oh my
It was
goodness.
great.
That
Yeah.
always stuck with me.
Put me in jail.
You locked me up. Yeah.
That was fucking fantastic. There was just like so much, like you say, there's just so much overkill. Like there's so much overacting that it because of the camp and the Goonies vibe from the kids, the overacting presented this bizarre danger. It was honestly lightning in a bottle. I think. I don't know. I looked at some Shane Black movies and I'm like, I don't, whatever his fucking sauce is, it was never fucking brewed again.
It's a collaboration between the two of them, and so maybe that's the wrong measure to attach to it.
Okay, that's fair. Yeah, you think Fred Decker is the guy gave the fucking whatever the magic mushrooms into the sauce or something?
No, well, they were both, they worked together on this. They came up with the story and edited it together and all that sort of thing. They get co-writing credits. I think that's meaningful. Like they really collaborated on this. But they had a weird. So Shane Black Predator comes out this like before this movie. And so does Lethal Weapon, and it's like Shane Black he writes Lethal Weapon, he acts in the original Predator movie. He's got his own fucking career trajectory. He's got his own stream. But then there's the Fred Decker collaboration stream, right? But which ends, it fucking ends with this movie until the Predator, like later. Yeah.
Well, he's got his own, like, you're talking about a Tales from the Crypt type of dude. So his camp is something a little extra. It's in the B range. It's in the fucking bowels, That's where
I think
operate.
So. That's exactly it. Like from the guy who wrote RoboCop 3, man, and that movie fucking sucks.
Boy.
And so
I mean, I do like As Good as It Gets, so I'm gonna give Shane Black a fucking pass again. But
no, not Shane Black.
No, I know. You're talking about Fred Decker. Yeah, I know. I pivoted again. Just had a moment of repentance.
Right. I don't know, man. Like Shane Black's written a lot of movies that I really admire, Lethal Weapon being the most of them. But I think like what I don't know who fucking knows. I can't compare the two things, but like I think what Shane Black brings to the Fred Decker collaboration is like a real solid understanding of how you get like a fast-paced what's like agile, constantly moving, like screenplay with a good structure, and good dialogue and that kind of thing. And maybe he doesn't have that B movie sensibility, but like if you add that to it, he can kind of mold it, right? He can take that weird shit and give it a backbone and send it on its way. That's the sense I get just from watching the two movies that we're talking about. Because like either one felt like a freight train out of control, but or like could have been, right? Could have went right off the rails.
Yeah,
it's true. I do feel like it's more structured. The Monster Squad.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, this is where I think part of it, like I was trying to think of like why one movie works, one movie doesn't. Part of it, I think, is those like the Universal monsters are, I guess, familiar enough that you like almost like an archetype where you can play with it. and that gives you some breathing room to like introduce these kids. I think part of that formula too that works so well is that this movie, I think 80s movies, like the good ones, knew this, but it doesn't sentimentalize the kids very much either. Like they
No.
presents kids like as they are, sort of like a little bit cruel, like a little bit quick to insult. A
perverse.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, like spying on like their neighbor girls and like the cool kids, like basically only joining the club to do that. Like there's like, I think when you introduced this episode last time, he said the word problematic was going to be used a lot, and there's that feel to it too for sure. But I don't know, there's something about that, like Phoebe, that little kid, like she's so fucking cute, and then like she's like, just they have her swearing and like it's so funny. Don't be chicken shit.
Yeah. I think this movie and Stand By Me.
Yes, classic example too.
Yeah, have those things in common. Like, they're like, one of the reasons I don't watch the Goonies and I don't care about the Goonies is because I don't care about those kids. Like, they're not actual kids to me. They're Spielberg creations, and they're not even a Spielberg movie, if I remember correctly. I don't care for any of that. Like E.T. and like E.T. is fine because of the fucking alien and the government intervention on the alien. That shit's creepy as fuck.
I didn't think we were gonna take shots at E.T.
Oh man, I'll take a fucking shot at E.T.
You didn't sign up for this.
I think also I know I'm gonna get some pushback on this, but I think also like a movie like Donnie Darko, I think also fails to do that. And just to pick a more more recent example, right? Kids are mean. Kids are fucking cruel, and their jokes are funny. But they're also not funny because they repeat their jokes over and over and over. But every once in a while, something funny happens from them.
I think some of the genuineness too comes from the Shane Black underdog theme.
Very true.
Monster Squad has like the coming of age thing kind of going for it. And then it's good, and then the kids are like these brutal underdogs, and he rehashes the underdogs and the Predator also in a more sort of crass way with, like you said, that anyway, we'll get into that, but that's, I don't know, this one just had that kind of going for it, and I think that also like humanizes the kids a bit more, because you're like, oh man, they're bullied, they're picked on, they're not all there, they're all fucking all over the board,
Yeah, misfits is the word he used in an interview, and I feel like that fits perfectly, ironically. But it's it's these kind of like on the edges characters that are just kind of banding together, and obviously that makes for a nice emotional core.
Yeah, I often, when I was earlier today, I was thinking of Dave Pilkey, thinking about this movie, the Dogman guy, Captain Underpants. This movie feels like a cartoon, like a comic book, like the Monster Squad made and turned into a movie. Like, it's so cartoonish and goofy, and like this underdog nature of the kids. Like, there's if you were to pretend that this was real, obviously they're going to get murdered or whatever, right?
Right.
But you could see like some kids in a class like drawing like really crude comic books, and Dracula shows up and he brings back Frankenstein, and but it's got this adult sensibility and all these cultural influences just that sort of start to happen for kids in the 80s. Like, once there's VHS, once there's this ability to just absorb all this culture, they start mixing and matching almost immediately. And it feels correct for kids. I like that. I think that's interesting, and I think it's almost, I don't want to say that, like, because it's not unique. Hollywood had been doing crossovers for a long time, and they modeled this movie, or they thought about this movie based on Abbott and Costello meet Frankenstein or Dracula. I forget whatever fucking one it was. So they have like this tradition that they're in. So it's not like brand new, but this is what this is Disney's dream. This is what Universal wanted after the Marvel universe cinematic universe was established. They were like, oh, we need to do the Universal monsters again. We have to do this crossover. But they took it all serious or whatever. But like, this is it. It's already been done. You know, just like you need Monster Squad 2 is what you guys need.
Yeah, it's true. This was like, I like the comic analogy too, because it basically Dracula assembled the Avengers.
He does, yeah. He gets together the Masters of Evil.
Yeah, and it's so like there's actually like when Swamp, I guess what is he, Swamp Man, Swampy, the creature from the Black Lagoon.
Yeah, they call him Gillman for some reason. That's weird.
He comes out and he throws Frankenstein on the fucking tarmac, and they all start fucking howling and shit. It's awesome. It's like, I was so fired up.
There's like a Superman Batman respect between Dracula and Frankenstein at first too, you know, like Dracula's real happy to see him again.
He is. He really goes out of his way. He needs Frankenstein for this, but like ironically, Frankenstein is the reason that everything falls apart. I like that.
How'd you guys feel about the old German?
Oh, I was just gonna. Yeah. Sorry, I just saw the. Are you watching the movie at the same time as we're talking?
No. I just had some.
Oh, okay. Coincidentally, that scene where where Sean finds the Mr. Alucard left a phone message and he does the anagram for Dracula. It happens right after everybody, like the Masters of Evil, get together. But I thought it was a stroke of. I'm hesitant to call it brilliance, but you know, it was very clever to have him be a Holocaust survivor. And to like,
it was a nice touch.
Well, yeah, because like, oh, you know a lot about monsters. Well, now that you mention it, I suppose I do. You know, and it makes like that's sort of like haunting of actual atrocities in the world. Like something about that. I don't know what to make of it. Like it's not meant to like make Dracula and Frankenstein more horrific.
No, and it's specifically to go over the heads of kids.
Oh yeah.
So it only evokes with adults.
Yeah. And then but like I think what I'm struggling for is like what's the emotional product of that choice. Go ahead.
It's almost like it just kind of touches on, you know, like we're at like this is it's all goofy and like you know, like a kid can like write to the army and the army's going to show up at the end to fight monsters, but like it's just that sort of like nod to like, yeah, there actually is, you know, actual evil in the world, and just I don't know, it just expands or like puts a little spin on what you're seeing at the same time.
I think so. It's like it's an Easter egg for kids to grow up with, like to properly grow up. I think that's how I took it, because like I don't know when I became aware of the Holocaust. I couldn't put a date on it or whatever, but like at some point you do, and shit like that is suddenly unlocked for you. But even then, you don't understand it because it's just words, right? The everything that happened. It's just like maybe you see some pictures, but you're never able to properly imagine it. But you grow with it, right? And you're like, I think that adds to something about this movie, like its adultness, even though it's obviously a children's movie. But the best children's movies are the ones that feel a little adult. Or problematic, depending on how you pronounce the word.
Sure. Almost like the Easter egg of the classic divorce underplot with the detective dad.
Right. Yeah.
It's
marriage
like,
counseling.
That's such a trope, like to use that in the 80s, and it's so aggressive, and it just gives us like that's another thing where like we're gonna force bad feelings onto you. And severity, even though it's not really plot related, like the monsters stay hokey, but they're just going to give you some bad feelings. Little sampler, you know. I don't know what it is. That's kind of thing. There's so much heart in this movie. It's there's a resonance that feels authentic. I don't know.
And I love the like the sets. Like when they're in the clubhouse, everything feels like there's so much work goes into the surroundings of this. Like in Eugene's room, when the dad comes in and the kid's like, there's a monster in my room, in my closet. So the dad comes in and there's actually a fucking mummy in his closet, but the dad doesn't see it. And actually there's a thought contained in that, but I'll finish this thought first. Like there's Robotech in posters, and there's a Punisher poster, which is really inappropriate for a child that age, but whatever. And in other rooms, like there's Marvel comics all over the place. There's comic books, anime. You know, like there's all sorts of, like cultural signifiers of childhood at that age. Like it feels authentic because they made it look authentic, and the kids feel real, not just because of how they're speaking, but they're nerd cool for those who know what nerd cool looks like, and which might have actually contributed to the tanking of this movie. They're a little too nerdy. I don't know if everybody was into that at the time, right? Looks cool for us, but
yeah, it's true. Nerd cool didn't. I don't know when nerd cool happened, but it was late.
Yeah. Well, I think like you think of Revenge of the Nerds or whatever. Like those aren't cool nerds. They're just fucking nerds, man, and they're like sexually assaulting girls. The other thought I had is one of the ways that this movie works is that the children immediately understand that Dracula and the Wolfman and all those guys are real, and that they're afoot in whatever this town is, and it slowly encroaches on the adults. And all these adult issues are in the background, and then suddenly these worlds converge, and then you get a climax, right? I think that like basic structure contributes a lot to it. It's almost required because like there's a way that you can watch these movies at first where those monsters actually don't exist at all and it's just part of the game. But adults just aren't able to see it at first. But all that make believe stuff, it was real to begin with.
Yeah, monsters aren't real. It's the best way to slow roll into it.
Yeah. And they literally do it at the I think science is cool. I think it's movie.
That principle is awesome. Like that scene is so good.
Prick. What did you think of what's everyone's take on the amount of TNT that Dracula used?
Oh my goodness.
He's just fucking rigging. He's just rigging TNT. He's a big fucking dynamite guy. He's like a Wile E. Coyote.
Yeah, it was excessive for the guy who was cut his teeth impaling people. I feel like stick with the classics.
Maybe
good,
that's
man.
it.
How
maybe
do you get
him? It's like modern tech. He's like suck on this.
Well, I think it's more cynical than that. How do you get explosions in your action movie in the 80s, right? That's it. You just need some. I know what to do. He was trying to like blow a hole in a wall earlier. He's got dynamite. He's just going to throw it in the clubhouse. He's going to throw it under a police car.
Blowing up the clubhouse was fucking malicious.
Yeah. And they foreshadowed the explosions because they quizzed the cool dude, not cool dude. What's his name? What's his fucking name? Rudy. Yeah, they quiz Rudy. How do you kill a werewolf? He's like silver bullet. And they're like, no, you're a fucking idiot. And he's like, oh, what's the other way? And then they go through a bunch of options and they're like, well, thrown out a window with a bomb in him, onto a bomb. And then, and later they do that with the dynamite.
And he doesn't die.
No, that's right. It's fucking funny. So there's a couple things going on there, but yeah, I like that, man. I kind of want to do that. I want to throw dynamite at someone.
Yeah, I guess. I don't know. I feel like
You don't
there's a
want to
lack of
dynamite someone?
supernatural power usage took the back burn to the dynamite tactics. But
How, if he just like slits their throat or whatever? Like, first of all, he's very careless. He's just throwing dynamite all over the place, like no, not even concerned whether or not they're actually there.
it's not gonna hurt him.
That's true. Although, like he like getting shot while in bat form is surprisingly like something we didn't know about vampires.
You really fucking mangled him. You got banged up on that one. It's true. Also, the garlic pizza.
Ah,
Yeah, that's
really
a classic.
that really slowed him down.
that scene after he gets shot as a bat, that's creepy, man. Like I remember that was the one where I was like, oh my god. And they only show it for a couple seconds, but you're like, that's horrible. The people who did the special effects for this, what's that guy's company? I don't, but they did the Predator costume based on the work that they did on this movie. You know, like Shane Black, I guess, was like, talk to this guy. And then they also did like Alien Resurrection and something else. They did like other alien stuff. So they did a bunch of things. It like the practical effects and costumes in this are just fucking very good. That's got to contribute to it as well. Like the memory of this and the effectiveness of this. Imagine the special effects sucked. This would be a nothing movie.
It's true. Because the death of the creature from the Black Lagoon, like that fucking sucking shotgun wound in his chest, it was just like fuck, that was awful. Like that stayed with me.
Yeah. Speaking of, this is just a little thing I noticed, but I think it impressed me because I've seen this movie a million times. I didn't realize it. But did you guys get Rambo vibes for like the little girl like mentioned? It's like of course we're at war with Vietnam. It's in Rambo. And then when the werewolf shows up at the police station, he's wearing that kind of like jacket and then like attacks all the cops and shit. Yeah, I felt like that had to be a little nod.
Oh,
that's funny.
Yeah.
Yeah, just these layering. Yeah, it's ahead of its time, and it's I don't know, I'll call it intertextuality, but just like all these like illusions and as you said, like the sort of expanded universe.
Mm-hmm.
Like it feels like it was like doing something.
Multiverse?
Setting a template. Yeah.
The funny thing about that is that I think that was something that was happening in film at the time. So, 1987 in film. So this is the same year that RoboCop comes out. Not that has anything to do with anything. Fuck, I'm not going to find it fast, but there was another movie that had intertextuality vibes, right? This crossover vibe. And again, like it's not unusual for movies to cross over. It's just not major franchise material at that time. You know, like it's not something that they're going to put over 10 movies in an effort to make billions of dollars. You know, like they hadn't, they just did. That's not the time for it.
Well, it's sort of like those like I don't know, like prototypes, and then you make the next connection. It's like, hey, this works. What if we milked it for everything it's worth? I remember marketing at the time, like in the coming into the 90s. I think it was around like Terminator 2 time, but they were like, yeah, like we could just synergize our marketing strategies and like cross promote with like McDonald's, blah blah. You know, like that sort of idea was definitely bubbling.
Yeah. Well, it certainly was. I mean, I don't think I'm going to find the thing I'm looking for, but I was going through all the movies of 1987 because I was like, what was going on that year? Like, if I looked at all the other movies, would I know why this movie fucking tanked? Yeah.
This had to do good on home video.
Oh, it was okay. Amazon Women on the Moon. Joe Dante. Satirical science fiction film that parodies the experience of watching low-budget films on late-night television. It's something like Joe Dante, John Landis. There's something about the experience of these late-night movies I think that's what's actually being commented on, not Hollywood, but like the experience of watching reruns in the middle of the night or at a drive-in or something, because they feature a drive-in. I think you get all these instances of parallel development in Hollywood, like when Big came out. Apparently that year, it was the third movie about some kid who became an adult. That's, sometimes these things happen, and I just wonder whether or not something like that's like a who knows why, right? A certain grade of or class of literature majors showed up and started writing screenplays, and they all had the same sort of thing on mind. Who knows, right? Or some producer hears about one movie and says, "Oh, that's going to be good, so we're going to copy that," right? Before we even know if it's going to be a success. Who knows?
Sure.
Anyway, speaking of intertextuality and franchising,
Great successes.
I guess, let's move over to The Predator, where Shane Black and Fred, it's Decker, not Drecker. God damn it, Somerville. What is this? This movie, it's treated as a flop, but 88 million, it brought in 160 million. So what's the problem?
Was it box office though, or was that gross?
I don't know. It says box office. I'm at the mercy of Wikipedia here. Right. So
yeah, I don't think that'd be too bad, really.
That's fine. Like, it's twice as much money as you put into it.
I think studios now always view it as an opportunity cost. Like, we could have made $1 billion if we ran, you know what I mean? Like, but exactly, it didn't just break even. So that's I wouldn't say it's a flop.
So let me turn this off here.
This is like clearly they just consciously or unconsciously tried to make the same movie.
The Predator?
Yeah.
Between the two of them.
Yeah.
It was, it really was more than I thought we were gonna find, like when I put these two things together. But not really.
You got your band of misfits. They're the only ones who know, like how to that this thing's going on. The only ones who can stop it. The tone is so wrong for Predator, but it is the same. It's tone that they're attempting to capture.
Mm-hmm.
They've got the crossover of like the like the friendly predator and like its dog. It's not really a friendly predator, but like the dog becomes sort of their ally, like Frankenstein does. Like I think you plot a lot of points together.
No, and it's one of those in incorporate and just incorporate. I don't think they
try. Yeah, they don't transcend.
Yeah, no transcending happens. Yeah.
I was gonna say I don't even know if they're really incorporate either, because he tries to do his mutant predator thing where there's like gene splicing with whatever delicate humans for whatever reason, in a nonsensical sort of way.
Well, the incorporated part is like there's all these references to the first Predator and even Predator 2.
Soundtrack too.
Yeah, and the way it opens up, like with the spaceship going to Earth, it's got the same font and everything. Like, they're really making an effort to create a cohesive product between Predator 1, Predator 2. Like, this is a franchise effort from the guy who did Iron Man 3. Like, that's what's at play here. And then you get Decker coming in with his desire to just have the mummy interface with Dracula, and have some kids say some stuff that's really inappropriate. Since we're long in the tooth in this conversation, I'm gonna put forward a reading of this movie, which is like, I don't know if it's going to reveal more about me than it is going to reveal a bit more like about the movie. So, the Predators. So they've got these dreadlocks, right? They've got like these like, and they even commented on the thing, like they're just like, what's with the dreadlocks or whatever. A lot of the monsters in this movie, to my eyes, are and even if you think in terms of like who the main bad guy is, this movie is in a lot of ways, to my mind, unfortunately, a movie that could be read as about concern about large black men dominating white families and whatnot.
Oh no.
I think because and particularly adding to this reading is our fucking hero or whatever, Quentin, played by Boyd Holbrook. He is the most pathetic action hero I've ever seen in my entire life. He's not, and he's treated with such, like, everyone's like, oh my god, like they shut up when he yells and stuff. You're like, who is this fucking guy? He's not tough at all. He's nothing. And there, like, there's always been this element of the Predator, which is the Mr. Ooga Booga man, right? And I think that this movie, unfortunately, kind of replicates that in its depictions. And I'm just going to put that out there for conversation. Like, I don't know what, that's what I got out of this. I was just like, this is very, very, it's a bad faith reading, but whatever.
Yeah. Wow. I got to think about that.
Well, that's fair. I just
Did you comment on the dreadlocks?
No, they do. Yeah.
What do they say? They say that they're like some kind of, maybe it's a sensory thing or yeah.
Well, yeah, they get Olivia Munn to give some sort of like sheen over it or whatever. But I just like, yeah, I don't know. It struck me, and like obviously it's like, again, I'll say it's a bad faith reading, but I couldn't get away from it once I started thinking about it. It is like if you read it as a sort of modern soldier interacting with primitive lost human kind of thing.
Yeah, you mentioned that before, like in the jungle setting of the first one and that sort of thing.
Yeah.
Too. Like, yeah, which I could see. It's not really where I come down on, but
yeah, well, that's fair. I'm curious. We can, we don't need to have a referendum. That's just kind of what I saw in this movie, and that's
sure.
Yeah. All right. So what's your take on the Predator?
I don't even know, but like there's like one thing that like this movie has a bit of that like sort of like army reverence, like the like what's his name? No, I can't even remember the protagonist's name. He's so forgettable.
McKenna?
Yeah, McKenna. Like he goes around the world and like the kid says to, I forget, like, my dad kills people so that you can deliver mail. Like, it's got that sort of like America the Protector, this American Sniper kind of vibe to it.
Yeah.
And that struck me as definitely better. Like, your dad is not in Mexico shooting drug dealers to protect the mailman's freedom. Like, he's there for very specific, probably strategic goals. So that sort of like white guy as guardian again, I don't know if you want to call it like a white man's burden sort of like vibe. I could kind of see that factoring in.
Well, that I hate to say that contributes to my overall thesis, but it feels like it does.
But like the military cast is so diverse though. Like,
oh no, and he has it. Yeah, but okay, fine. Well, wait a minute. Are they?
Well,
There's a black guy. There's a black guy. What?
There's two, and
yeah.
then there's actually also a black antagonist.
But that's exactly my point, though. It is like the most evil person who happens also to become an ally later on is like the black guy. Oh,
that's fair.
You can wave your hands and say Nebraska exists. It's sort of Nebraska is the name of the the good guy black character. But honestly, Yeah, I don't know. I think at the very least there is a reverence for militarism that Chris is pointing to, and oh fuck, I don't know. And I don't like it's a real heady stew, right? Because you've also got autism as a superpower,
Right.
and,
Yeah, we're talking about that.
Yeah,
Yeah,
like I just don't.
You have Jake Busey, scientist. You have One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest, mental ailment team on the bus with like fucking wacky, inappropriate jokes. You've got Tourette's syndrome guy, who also apparently is super powered by his Tourette's syndrome.
Yeah, that's true. You've got sexist predator who like just refuses to engage with women. That's the thing.
Yeah, man. I'm just like the like problematic is just off the chart of this movie, and it's just like it's so much more offensive than Monster Squad, where it was just like it was like okay, you're like okay, well we don't say those things anymore, but whatever. Like fine, this movie isn't toxic. This movie's fucked.
I really had the feeling this movie felt like old guy trying to be like progressive and with the times, but like really not getting it. Like that, I definitely had an overall feeling of that.
Oh, fascinating.
That's fair.
Okay, well if that's true, there. Well, explore for the moment that maybe both my theses, like both things are true. Like my this is highly retrogressive, and at the same time, a guilty white man's attempt to not be retrogressive. Like they it feels like they could be both. Just like a massive failure.
Like just a lot of incompetence going on.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But not really. So
no, because sorry, go ahead.
Oh, I was just gonna say because this movie's a lot of fun.
Yeah.
It's so much fun, and if you just put aside, you're just like, okay, problematic meters off the chart with this fucking thing. Who cares? Like at a certain point, you're not going to throw the baby out. You're just going to be like, oh, I'm just not going to get in that bath afterwards. I think that metaphor worked.
I think so. There's so much acting talent like available to them as well, and then his wife and Casey Brackett, scientist, are so hot. It's just a good time.
Yeah, Olivia Munn coming at you.
Everybody is. Oh, the only two women in the movie, because that's also problematic.
I'm always so happy to see Keegan-Michael Key in anything. Like it just like warms my heart.
Oh, he was shit. I don't know the character's name, but yeah.
Yeah, he was the PTSD kind of guy. Like, and he was best friends with the Tourette's guy.
Yeah. Is that Tom Jane? Is that?
Oh yeah, it is.
Okay, yeah. Casting on both these movies, like, I don't imagine they're the same casting directors, but like one good thing, everybody's doing the job, right? Olivia Munn, even though like her character is fucking ridiculous, and maybe this gets to what you were saying, James, about someone trying to make up, trying to like be hip and progressive. Like Olivia Munn's character, the biologist who's also like a crack shot and swears all the time and super cool with everything. Like at the same time as that's happening, like I was in IMDb and some of the comments and like goofs or trivia or something like that, someone referred to like her statements as scientifically illiterate. And I was like, yeah, that fits, like all this, like, oh my goodness, the next, like there's an exoskeleton under their skin. Like that doesn't make any fucking sense. Like it's an exoskeleton. No, it's just like there's a lack of actual concern with content of statement, and just a complete lack of concern with content of statement. Like if on IMDb again, it's just like all the military guys got out of their fucking chairs and were like, well, actually, this couldn't happen or whatever. But there was so many of them. I was like, Shane Black doesn't give a shit about reality.
No,
at the end of the day,
this is a total shitscapade.
Yeah.
I don't even think the military action or anything was realistic. And in addition to that, I don't think the guns were ludicrous that were used, and nobody did any military tactics. They were just cool.
Yeah.
It was just it was an absolute madhouse, which goes to the now here's where you get into the fact that the production was fucked up, right?
Go on.
So Shane Black hired a pedophile friend.
Oh god.
Oh, I did read this.
And there's a scene with him, I guess, like he's the one that actually talks Olivia Munns on her jog into coming back to the lab with them. She found out, I guess, went fucking berserk, and they had to cut the scene from the movie, and then she had like, I guess the rest of the cast got real chippy with her, and then they had a hard time with the cast after.
Oh, wow.
And then apparently, in addition to that, there was also apparently there's like footage of like multiple predators riding on like fucking panzers and shit.
Mm-hmm.
And the movie just was like a shit show with like 25 predators in it, and this like ludicrous things happening, and they shot the entire end of the movie in the daylight, and I guess they looked at it after, and it looked fucking like an absolute carnival. So Shane Black, they reshot the entire end of the movie in the dark and changed all the ways that all the characters died. Apparently changed all the deaths in the movie, and then I guess that just like put the nail in the coffin for its like jonky feeling. I don't know.
That was so interesting to me. And like last time, I kept thinking about how when we talked about X, James, you said like when you have that sort of like time to spend with the characters, it kind of increases your investment in them, and it makes the kills a lot more, I don't know, not, impactful, I guess. And I was trying to think about why this movie doesn't do that. Like, we spend a lot of time with these, like, Julia watched it with me. She said it was like Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs. Like, it's sort of like sort of goofiness of it. I was like, yeah, that's so true.
That's funny. That's perfect.
Yeah. And but like, there's something like all I felt was like that this movie was soft, because when you have the Predator, like, and it's not killing people left and right, then like imagine you made a movie about a sniper and he like misses the first 20 shots. That's not a threat. Like, the Predator has to be lethal. It has to be murderous. It has to be precise. And I feel like there's a formula too, like where like that's established in the first movie of like competent soldiers being dismantled by this thing. And when nobody dies until like the last like 20 minutes, it just feels like they have plot armor on. I didn't feel like there was a threat. I didn't feel invested.
Plot armor. Love it.
Ooh, that's fair.
Yeah. No, you're not wrong. But that's not the type of movie that it's going for. And we're getting back to the Monster Squad comparison. This is a cynical attempt at rebooting a franchise, like at getting that, like, we could do Dracula versus werewolf anytime we want. Let's go. And yeah, as a consequence, it's not going to have that bite. And I think it's also tonally, as fun as this movie is, like the tones that it goes through, like, so you got the guys on the bus that flew over the cuckoo's nest thing, and everybody's interacting, and they're making, they're swearing, a lot of swearing. And then then you shift to the kid, and they're going for like an ET thing. But that kid is, although he gets bullied by the other kids, and that feels pretty real.
Poorly. I would joke about I'm hungry for some Asperger. It's like, you got to work on your material, kids.
That's something I'm going to say to you guys. Yeah, you're right. Like but still, I guess maybe that's exactly it. Like, it doesn't feel like actual kids. It just feels like the signifier of cruel kids.
Yeah.
And I think the fact that the kid's autism is a superpower really also is a big, like, not just a problem in terms of like problem, but for like bringing any realism to this. Like you conceivably, I guess. Well, this movie wouldn't work unless autism was a superpower, sadly. And I think maybe that's but if you wanted to have a better movie, I suppose you could have a kid who has autism and then is still cool and maybe also still solves the plot. Like you could still have your cake and eat it too. But I already said, like, he's just not interested in realism in this movie at all.
No, absolutely. And this idea that like autism would be like the next evolution of I feel like that's like probably offensive. Like I just like, I think that autism is a like part of the spectrum of humanity, and I think that it would diversify the sort of range of abilities in our species, and therefore bring out something unique and give some versatility to what we can do. Like it's been around for a long time. It's not just a new phenomenon that's part of an evolution, right? And like I did a little reading on this, and like there is some speculation, some papers written that like it's possible that autism may have helped hunters in terms of like the like hyper focus or things like that. But the idea that the predators, like, first of all, has never encountered this before, or like come back specifically to Earth, like the super predator, like the biggest one ever, like to take the spinal column of a child so that it can perfect their species. I don't buy that. I don't think that that's a good plot at all.
No, it's pretty fucking ridiculous. Oh shit, there was a thought in there, but it's gone now. Yeah, I think that you're right. I like is they don't need hyper in because what does the kid represent? He represents hyper intelligence. But they have fucking starships.
Exactly.
And
they've done pretty well.
Yeah.
And their whole species is geared to just like straight up fucking stealthy murdering things and then like collect it. Like I know that they're trying to do like the thing where they're expanding the universe and like they do have a purpose for this beyond just trophy collecting. But it just doesn't. You wouldn't need humanity. Like there are better species out there to perfect your lethal killing.
Or different elements of like if it was revealed that the kid was really good at designing guns, or like maybe
true, yeah,
right, like yeah, or just like his or well,
but
use your example
doesn't
like
work that way.
Well, scientifically illiterate, yeah, you're like,
yeah, exactly.
Check. But they're doing all this bioengineering stuff. It's you can see like I have a pet peeve about people who just throw around the word evolution without understanding what it means. That's always bothered me. That this just feels of a piece with that, like that habit. Evolution to a lot of individuals just means like becoming fitter in the struggle for survival, like in some sort of like primitive sense. And that's how it's being used here. And we can put that on the problematic pile, which is mountainous. I just can't even fucking believe this fucking movie. Yeah. So, I don't know. Do we like the dog?
The dog that gets fucking shot in the back of the head and lobotomized and then sort of just like tags along with them until it ends up being a helpful companion.
Yeah, and when they need it to disappear, they just throw something and then it disappears for, I don't know, 20 minutes of the movie.
And then just shows back up and saves their asses or whatever.
Yeah. Just beauty.
Yeah, there's so many good things that happen.
Did you?
Where did they get the camper?
The camper, like when? I know what you're talking about, but I don't.
Yeah. They just
okay. Well, they just did, man.
Camper.
Are you jealous? Do you wish you had a camper?
I just mean like in terms of sets, like I can see like that probably save them a couple bucks to be like, let's just roll up full tilt in a fucking camper to a baseball diamond and shoot this shitscapade with rubber suits on.
There you go, man. Well, now you could be a producer in Hollywood.
And they're like, that's a good idea. So then we just have one expensive set instead of two. But it just, I don't know. This just sucked. I don't know what it is. Something about the dynamic of the military guys and he didn't squeeze any heart out of this, but he squeezed enough camp out for me to enjoy it the second or third time around that I've watched it here. For this viewing, and I didn't like it. I didn't like it less. And I'll say, like, if it ever comes on again, I'll probably dip back in. I don't know why.
No, and I know exactly why. And the answer, it's two words. It's Shane Black. Because that's his fucking MO, man. He doesn't make movies where you're just like, well, I'm gonna like it less the next time I see it. Like, this is honestly, this is ground zero. This is the bottom of the fucking rung. And even this movie is fun beyond its moral capacities.
Yeah. It's a weird thing. I wrote that it's a competently made bad movie. And like, for that reason, yeah, it's got, like, it hits these beats, and like, it's got these moments where you're like, yeah, that's like, there's a good idea. Yeah, I like that part or whatever, like it there's enough there.
Well, okay, here's an example. When Olivia Munn is first brought into the fucking thing or whatever, and she puts on her little lanyard in there, and then they start like lowering the room, and that guy makes that fucking comment, and the guy's like, every fucking time, huh? It's just like that's funny. And there's so many flashes of funny. There's so many flashes of like the actual voice of the director, and the writers and stuff, that you're like, oh, okay, like, you're charmed by it, even though you're like, you recognize that this movie's fucking garbage, but you're like, well, okay, great, I'm having a great time. There's all these Easter eggs. There's funny commentary. There's really offensive language, like when they're talking about the guy, like the kid Rory or whatever, the One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest crowd. They're like, I don't even remember what it is. Like, he calls his kid retarded or whatever, and they're like, don't say that, man. Even though his kid is fucking retarded. You're just like, Jesus Christ, guys, what are you doing? It's 2018. Are you just okay?
Unleashed.
Yeah. Anybody who says Disney's woke, just watch this movie, man. Like, just watch it, man. Disney paid for this shit, man. It's all part of the same franchise. You can watch this on Disney Plus right now. Actually, I don't know if that's true. Can you do that?
Yeah, I watched it on my Disney Plus.
Yeah, fucking yeah. So
4K, baby.
This is it, man. Anyone, if you're on the internet right now and you're talking to someone and they're like, Disney's all woke, you just send them a link for this.
Yeah, you can skip
They're not woke at all,
and you can move over to this baby.
Yeah.
Straighten yourself right out.
You were like, oh, I see. There's just a corporation that produces product, and some of it's highly offensive and awesome. Anyway, yeah, I don't. I feel like this movie is kind of all the bad things we've said about it. Like, it's kind of like a failed opportunity. Like, this could have been okay.
Yeah.
I think I'm arguing that, though, based on the things that I read and the way that he had multiple buddy predators and shit entering into the fray that he cut out, because of absurdity or whatever. I don't think he wanted it to be better than this. I think he wanted it to be even fucking wackier.
Probably. I don't know if it would have been wackier. Did they, like, I'm not sure they intended wacky, but wilder, maybe, like bigger with more monsters and stuff. Yeah.
I don't think coherence was ever really part of the plan, because even something I went back to check this out. So the basic idea, like, maybe you mentioned this, but like, that there's a predator who has escaped, or like decided to sabotage the works of his race in terms of like harvesting humanity or ending the world or some shit. And he's come back to help humanity by delivering some kind of weapon to them. When he first shows up, like he takes the time not only to like kill a bunch of people, but like he like skins one of them and like drops them from a tree. Like, and this is a sort of like opening gambit of like helping out humanity. Like there's no sense to that at all.
Yeah. I guess the argument is that he can't help himself.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh, yeah.
It's like a cat. Yeah.
Yeah. It's just like, I need to help these people, but just like, fuck, just let me skin one of you.
This one fought so hard, I'm gonna skin him.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I like that interpretation.
You're okay, yeah. And so there's also like, why are they doing this? And why are they like, if I remember correctly, I didn't watch it a second time, so I might be a little, but there's some sort of like ecological, like with global warming, this place is going to be like a jungle and they're going to want to harvest. Yeah.
Yes. Yeah.
So there's a sort of apocalypticism to all of it, like just like tied into all of it, which again gets back to like a failed attempt to be woke. Like it's Shane Black's, like this is woke for him. He's just like, got to deal with our like,
and ultimately it would have
one acknowledgement of global warming.
That's it.
Funny.
Ultimately, it would have entered the Decaverse too, because like, did you read that the alternate ending that they had initially planned?
No, I didn't read what it was.
Things. I've read a few things, and they're all kind of contradictory to me. So what do you got?
Well, apparently, like, so at the end they reveal that there's like some sort of like exoskeleton suit that's a predator killer that he's brought from.
Yeah. Right. Yeah. Okay.
So it would have been like almost like an Iron Man thing, honestly. But the original plot, they were supposed to like cut to like Ripley coming out of the. Like,
yes. Yeah.
So it would have been expanded it's the Monster Squad all over again. It's like it would have been like the Alien
Ripley
Predator. Yeah.
Yeah, they were trying to do an Alien thing. They were going to do an Alien Predator like proper crossover where like even though it would make no sense. But
she would have had to time travel.
Well, apparently Dutch also turned down a role.
Well, yeah, right.
Like Arnold.
Yeah.
But not because it was a total shitscapade, because he didn't feel like the part was big enough.
Yeah.
He would have joined up.
Nice.
No fucking worries.
Yeah, I read all that too, and then the idea was that like the second movie would have Schwarzenegger in it, and go big, man.
Yeah,
I love it. That would have been amazing.
Yeah,
I would have. Honestly, like Wild Horses couldn't have held me back, man. I like
it's true. That would have fucking blown into the stratosphere of just absolute shitscapade.
Yeah,
all complaints stuffed into the corner. I want to see that.
Yeah. Hollywood, if you're listening, Disney.
Okay. Yeah, they shouldn't have killed all the guys. Then you would have had the Tourette's guy, who basically is like he's like the pussy joke from the first movie, just personified into an entire character.
Oh, wow.
It's just so confusing.
One thing that I forgot to like comment on or not complain about, just fucking comment on is about the Monster Squad. When Rudy, Frankenstein takes that picture of the girl undressing, right? And then Rudy, who's constantly doing spit takes throughout the movie, which is a funny gag. He finds that he's got a nude photo in his little roll, and they immediately use it to pointlessly blackmail the girl. And then he's so shitty to her. She's like she says something and he's like, like he goes straight to.
Anyway, that was nicely done.
Yeah, no, I was
ruthless.
Like, wow. Yeah, amazing.
Yeah, and then it turned out she wasn't a virgin.
Yeah.
Have you been dorked? Isn't that what he says?
Yeah. In that Wolfman Scott Nard's documentary, there's a lot of cringe moments because some people love this movie far more than they ought to. Like some people cry about this fucking movie in that documentary, and you're like, whoa. But
Jesus.
the actors, like some of the kids, they're okay. So they call out this like, not call out. One of the guests is this university professor, who teaches film studies or whatever, and he's just like, yeah, I show everybody Monster Squad, and so he has this thing. There's these university students and the teachers there, and the kids like Sean and Patrick, all grown up, are there in the audience, not the audience, in front on the stage, and they're really celebratory about the movie, like, you know, talking like it's just amazing, whatever. But then they start talking about its problematic aspects, right? And this, you know, it's calling kids fat and gay shaming, and you know, like all the stuff that it does. And they call that out, and they're like, oh, that's bad. And the kid, you know, they cut to the university kids, and they're like, oh, you know, they also look bad. But then they go on a little really ill-advised rant about, well, if they made this movie nowadays, it would just be like, we'd have to have a gender-specific blah 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 and a blah blah blah, and you're just like, no.
So they go on a problematic rant separately.
Yeah. Just for a moment, like in a university classroom, and like you see the kids kind of like, some of them are kind of smiling, and like you're like, there had to have been some editing where that room got really awkward for just a moment, and then they moved on to talking about like the filming of it.
That's funny.
Sorry, that was a side bit, but seemed appropriate talking about Predator.
That all feels right. Yeah.
Yeah. So I don't know, how do we wrap this up? What do we do with Shane Black and Decker?
I'm gonna give the Predator a 5.8 and Monster Squad a 7.2.
Oh wow. I love that. Okay. Let's see what. Yeah. All right. This is fun. I don't know what my criteria are, but I'm gonna give Predator.
10.
Yeah. But I mean, like, yeah. What's the measurement here? I'm gonna give Predator a 5.6. And Monster Squad, I'm gonna give that a solid 8. I'm gonna get it an 8 rating, A-. Yeah.
Okay. You're feeling generous tonight. Okay.
I love that we just resurrected ratings. I think we're all in range, though. I think I give Predator like a 5 and Monster Squad 7.5.
Whoa! Wow! Okay. I like Monster Squad more than you guys. I'm a little surprised about that.
Wow, me too, a little. But
well, there it is.
Yeah,
there it is,
ladies and gentlemen. If we appreciated the full context of the rich history of Monster Squad, maybe we give it an 8, but we're just ignorant.
I see. Yeah. Fucking bow down, guys. My Monster Squad powers are great.
Now all we need is a little energon and a lot of luck.